Now, it is no secret that the Nissan Frontier has been a truck that came out in 2005 and, well, lasted in production as the first generations until like 2021. I mean, there's been other trucks, the Ranger, the Tacoma. Tacoma's kind of a culprit of that too, the Colorado. But this, well, it's been the same thing forever until now. This here is a 2022 Nissan Frontier SV. And, well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you about the top 5 things I hate about this truck, because there's a lot. So, let's just get started. My name is Evo, and you're watching God Next. So, the first thing that I want to discuss in today's video is the most glaring thing is, did Nissan really update this truck? That's the first thing. And there's going to be people in the comments who are going to be like, well, it's a whole new generation. It's good this, it's that. Sure, but it looks like they just gave it a nice little facelift and a refresh, made the exterior look a little bit more modern. The interior, I would hesitate to use the word modern. Sure, it's got a newer infotainment system. Actually, it looks like it came out in 2010. Gauges look like they came out in 2012. All the buttons here look like they're from a 2005 Nissan Altima. And this is a key from 2006. I mean, like, what's going on? The Chevy Colorado, the Ford Ranger, the Tacoma got a refresh. They all look like newer trucks. This, sure, it looks kind of like a newer truck, but it really looks like they just did a facelift on the first generation. Now, it is the cheapest one out of all of them. I will give it that, because it rightfully should be, considering you're still driving a truck from 2005. But it's behind, I think. It's just really behind all the other brands, because it really just is old. It looks decently modern, or kind of modern, but it feels old. And that's going to segue us into the second thing on this list. Now, the second thing I want to touch on is the steering of this truck. Out of all the midsize trucks, I've driven a Colorado, I've driven a Ranger, I've driven a Tacoma, and I've driven this, and I'm referring to the newer versions. This has such a heavy steering wheel for being a midsize pickup truck. A Ford F-150, heck, a Ford F-350 Super Duty does not have a steering wheel that is as heavy as this truck. This is nuts. I mean, for a small truck, this thing's steering is too heavy. I don't know why. When you're moving, it's all right. But when you're stopped and you're going to make a left turn or right turn, it's really heavy. And it makes no sense as to why. It really is annoying. It absolutely is annoying. But just something to consider if you guys are out there shopping for a mid-sized truck. Just know that the Frontier has a much heavier steering feeling than the other brands out there. Now, the third thing is going to be the interior. Now, I touched on how in the first thing that basically Nissan didn't really update much, and I still believe that. But in terms of the interior, guys, the buttons in here, like the heated seats buttons and all the other stuff, heated steering wheel, the window switches look like I could go to the junkyard and pull them out of a 2006 Nissan Altima and they would fit. Because guess what? They would. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is crazy. This truck here new is $34,000. I could go buy a Frontier from 2007 for $8,000 and probably have the same truck in terms of the interior. Now, like I said, they updated some stuff, newer infotainment system actually. I'd stress to say that, because this looks like it was designed in 2010. The gauges look like from the newer Altima, which is nice, I guess, give it a newer looking steering wheel and all that. I mean, it's the steering wheel from the Titan, but that's kind of it. Like, the interior just feels like a cobbled together interior from the parts bin Nissan that they have, maybe from some other brands too, because you guys got to remember, the brand's owned by Renault, so a lot of this stuff is probably recycled stuff. A lot of plastic on the interior. Again, given this is an SV, so it's not a complete base. It's also not the highest trim. I'm sure the highest trim has leather seats and everything. But the Ranger just feels like it has a nicer interior for around the same cost. Tacoma too. It's crazy. I mean, Nissan, it is crazy what you guys are doing with this specific pickup truck. Now, the fourth thing on here, we're going to continue with the interior. it's going to be this infotainment system. So all jokes aside, it really does look like Nissan really designed this in 2010. I mean, sure, it's got Bluetooth audio, it's got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and whatnot, but it's not wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which now the Ranger offers. In the new sync system, it's got wireless CarPlay. This does not. Now for 2024, 2025, I did look at some pictures and it looks like Nissan did a little bit of a minor refresh, I guess you could say, on the interior. It looks a little nicer. The screen's a little bit bigger, which is nice. But just overall, the tech in this car just feels old. It feels like it's just about 5 or 6 years behind its competitors, which is hard to justify spending $34,000 and not spending an extra $1,000 or $2,000 to get a Ranger when you're going to get better tech with that kind of car. Or that truck, excuse me, or a Tacoma, or a Colorado, just in general. This just feels like you buy this because it's just the absolute cheapest thing you can find. And I mean, even used car prices reflect that. I mean, Tacomas hold their value, Rangers hold their value. This does too. It's just, it's going to be the cheapest out of all of them for a specific reason. Now let's move on to the final thing. Now the final thing on this list is by far got to be the engine option. Now, I will stress this. The engine is good. It is a 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6 making like 210 horsepower. It is decent. It's pretty good. It makes good power. It's 310 horsepower. I mean, it's not bad at all. The thing is, though, that the issue I have with this engine is it's the only option that you have. That's it. Like that's it. The Ranger gives you a 2.3 liter inline 4, a 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6, and then a 3 liter EcoBoost V6 for the Ranger Raptor, which is awesome. I mean, that's 3 different engine options. The Colorado gives you 2 different ones. You can get a diesel or you can get a naturally aspirated V6. Sure, the Tacoma only gives you the V6, but it'd be nice to have a different engine option. Why wouldn't you offer a 4-cylinder? Maybe if I'm just trying to buy a base truck as like a work truck, maybe I don't really care for the V6. I don't care about power. It's a thing. I mean, pool companies, who really cares about how fast this thing accelerates, you know what I mean? Or the speed it keeps up at. The 4-cylinder Ranger would keep up with this truck. Something to think about, again, when you're shopping for one of these is think about how outdated this truck is and the fact that they're really only giving you one engine option, one transmission option. You can't buy a manual. This truck kind of is easy to hate. It's just, it's the worst out of all of them. It really is. I mean, again, if you're a diehard Nissan fan or whatnot, okay, props to you, great. I wish you the best of luck because you're buying probably the worst one out of all of them. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. I genuinely do not like this truck. I don't think this is a great buy. I would highly recommend looking at the Tacoma or the Ranger before you look at any of these. Now, if you get one of these for a great price and it's you know it's just a steal, okay. I mean, sure, at that point, sure. But if it's the same price as a Ranger or as a regular old Tacoma, go for the Tacoma. Trust me, you will not regret it. But thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are interested in more content like this, make sure you check out our channel, and I will see you guys on the next video.